Hi everyone, Empress Justice here. If you'd like to check out daily readings, you can check them out on Twitter, Instagram and Facebook. If you'd like to check out my June 2022 readings, you can check them out on Empress Justice Tarot YouTube. There is going to be a new moon in Ardra reading on the 21st at 9 a.m. British summertime. If you can't catch it live, you will always catch it on Empress Justice Tarot YouTube as well. Just to warn you that there's going to be noise pollution every single time, or almost every single time I do my fucking readings, because that's how it usually goes down. Providing it doesn't infuriate you too much, please join me for the live. Also, there is a petition that is being set up by my friend Daryl Brown. He has been an activist against pharmaceutical injuries for decades now, seeing as he was a victim of pharmaceutical injury himself and forced medications. What he is requesting is that MIND include the side effects of antipsychotics and antidepressants as part of their regular research. He has already asked them directly and they have already said no. So they need public pressure in order to acknowledge the side effects of the medications and how they physically affect mental health patients day to day. Now that petition is online. You can find it on my YouTube, Fabienne Deacon YouTube, Fabienne Deacon TI YouTube, Empress Justice Tarot YouTube. You can also find the petition on Seraphim Rage Twitter, on Empress Justice Tarot Twitter. So if you look on all of those sites, you can find the petition there. You can also find the petition on Facebook, Empress Justice Tarot Facebook as well. So you can find the petition pretty much all over my social media apart from Instagram. And that's only because you can't upload more than one link on Instagram. So if you'd like to sign the petition, after I upload this video onto YouTube, you can sign the petition below the description of this video. I'm going to continue to promote it as widely as I can. This is going to be ongoing on top of many other things that are ongoing. We're going to hold these people accountable one way or the other. It's not going to stop if there's no justice. We don't get no. If we don't get justice, they don't get peace. It's as simple as that. Now, with that all out of the way, update on myself. Everything's been quiet. Aunt Flo is visiting. I think because of everything that's happened previously, nobody wants to rock the boat now, so everything's been really, really quiet. I've been doing some readings here and there. I've also got a timeless popped reading up on Empress Justice Tarot TikTok. So I've got that on there as well. Also, what else? Yeah, so update on me. Everything's been pretty quiet so far. Nothing's been untoward. Of course, I ran into my upstairs neighbor in the co-op. And of course, we said nothing to each other. We just gave each other a glance and kept it moving. But that's always par for the course. The neighbors are always full of mouth when they're not in front of you and when they're through a wall or through a door. But as soon as they see you, they've got nothing to say except for the younger child who's too dumb to understand the situation. So, yeah, so basically they don't say anything. They never say anything to your face. It's always behind your back or, talking shit. It's always behind your back. It's never to your face. So that's that. Nothing's really happened over here that much. I think maybe the kids keep using slurs, but I don't know. That's up to them, innit? I ain't got the fucking time to worry about it. If that's what they want to do, that's what they want to do. I'm not raising them, so it's got nothing to do with me. Other than that, really nothing has happened here. Nothing really has happened here. I still get electronically harassed, but the electronic harassment has been really low level. It's been really low level. Occasionally, I'll get really bad burns here, at this part of my back where the heart is. occasionally I'll get really bad burns there, or I'll get burns in my toes or on my fingers. But as you can see, my feet are not really that badly burned, you see, because I get attacked there. But the injuries that I've sustained on my feet, like if I hadn't told you that I was being attacked in my feet occasionally, you would just think these were normal feet. You want to see some of the injuries that I've seen with regards to other TIs in their feet and hands, you would not believe it. The shit is absolutely shocking. But what I notice is that with white people who are attacked with these weapons, I'm not saying black people aren't attacked as badly with these weapons now. You got to remember, black people are the most oppressed people on the planet, bar none. The only people more oppressed than us are indigenous people. But original indigenous people are black anyway, so it's a moot point. But black folk are the most oppressed on the planet. So I'm not about to sit here and say, oh, suddenly I'm not going through as much as a white person is because of these weapons, because that wouldn't be true. But I do have to admit that the more melanin that you have, this is why black folk are met with more brutality than any other race. Because there is something in our skin, there's something in our melanin that makes us more resistant to the radiation. I have a lot of injuries because of this DEW technology, but I feel like the way that they like to fire it on my body, if I was a white woman, my injuries would show up a lot more, because when you're white and you don't have that barrier of protection of your melanin, the radiation can get to your body a lot quicker. Like, the positive side of not having that much melanin is that you only need a couple of hours of sunlight, because the vitamin D from the sun, it gets directly into your bloodstream, because the melanin doesn't have that barrier, right? But the downside of that is not only burning easily, it means that when you are subjected to radiation, your skin absorbs it more readily, which means you're more likely to get injury from the electronic weaponry. This is why you've got that RNA technology with regards to nanotechnology. You've got that DNA sequencing to try to attack black people in other ways, because our melanin is a barrier to the traditional ways like DEWs and EMFs. Our melanin is creating a barrier between the torture and the torture's effectiveness. So they got to get us from the inside. If they can't get us from the outside in a way that they can get white people from the outside, they've got to get us from the inside. Again, the brutality has to be met with black folk more than white folk because of our phenotype, but I digress. The reason why the injuries, even though they do show, you can see the marks from the electronic weapons on parts of my body. You can see, look. So they do show up. I do get injuries and they do show up. But if I was a white person, those injuries would show up that much more. The burns would show up that much more. I've seen some really bad burns when it comes to black folk affected by this weaponry. I've seen their skin permanently being dry and everything. They got scales all over their skin from where they've been burned. I've had that as well. But when it comes to the worst that I have seen DEW weapons do, it's been white person after white person after white person after white person, because the radiation, the way it sits on the skin, is different. Do you understand what I'm saying? So for people thinking that targeted individuals or, this Havana syndrome stuff has nothing to do with race, you're dead wrong. Race is one of the most important parts of population control. It always has been. because the emphasis is on control. If you've got a race of people, a phenotype of people, whose very skin makes you more resistant to programming, more resistant to social control, more resistant to radiation than other phenotypes, then you step up the brutality. If you're a psychopath who wants to ensure that human beings could be more easily controlled, then when it comes to people with a phenotype that threatens that control, you step up the torture. And in a way, it's kind of, it kind of works to the, I don't know, you step up the torture when it comes to darker skinned people. And you get us from the inside as well. That's how they get us. They get us from the inside. Because they can't really get us from the outside like that. They have to get us from the inside. That's one of the reasons why when it came to black folk being tortured or black targets being tortured, it's not enough just to brutalize us and just to beat us up and wail on us and what have you. It's not enough just to do that. They have to make it extra humiliating, extra shameful, extra degrading, extra this, extra that, because it's about getting us from the inside, because they can't get us from the outside like that. It's about getting us from the inside. Whereas with white people, you can, I'm sorry to say this, but you can get the job done with half the brutality. This sounds like the most awful thing to say, but the fairer your skin is the less brutality needed to actually make you fall into line with what the status quo wants you to do. And it sounds like a really racist thing to say, but again, we're working, this whole gang stalking thing. These alchemical fraternities, they're eugenicists. They've thought about this long before any of us have discussed it. So if you have lighter skin, even though there is absolutely no denying the hell that these white TIs and Asian TIs are going through, there is no denying the absolute hell that they go through. None at all. The truth of the matter is that it takes less brutality to get to fairer skinned people, like less outer brutality to get to fairer skinned people than it does to get to those with a darker skin tone or a black phenotype. It takes less brutality in order to control people who are fairer than it does to control people who are darker. And that's why even though all of us are enslaved by this system and all of us are being brutalized and lied to and stolen from, and all of us are going through this, but there's a reason why some of us are going through it in a bigger way than other people are going through that. There's a reason for that. When you really peel back the layers, it is all about who is the most controllable. And sometimes the most controllable people can be more valuable than the people who are deemed the most capable or deemed the strongest. It's all about control. It is all about control. That's why the way people are targeted is race specific. It is gender specific as well. With women, again, women are more brutalized than men are, because when men are concerned, it takes less emotional brutality. It takes less brutality to control a man than it does to control a woman, even though technically speaking, a woman is supposed to be physically weaker. It takes more brutality to control a woman than it does to control a man, because women are closer to being intuitive and healing and agreeable, which ironically makes her less controllable. So she takes more brutality than a man does, technically. More physical brutality or more emotional brutality, which is more likely, than a man does, because again, you're talking about who is less able to be controlled. So yeah, it's it's all about control. This whole thing is the one eugenicist program designed around control. It is white supremacist, but it's a little bit more complex than, oh, white people are the best. Because remember, it's about control. And whoever is usually the most controllable, they're the ones who are usually given greater reward. Whoever is deemed as being more controllable by these alchemical fraternities, by the powers that be, whoever is deemed as most controllable, those are the ones who have their egos stroked. It's the same as literally any situation. The more easily controlled you are, and the more you toe the line, is the more you're rewarded for it. So once again, it's white supremacy, but I feel like it's white supremacy in name only, because it's not to benefit the whole of the white race. It has never been to benefit the whole of the white race. It's only been to benefit a handful of white families or white passing families. Never been for the benefit of the entire race. No way in hell. It's never been for the benefit of the whole white race. Just a handful of white families, and that's it. But don't get it twisted. Race absolutely plays a part in how people are tortured with electronic weapons. They also play a part in medication injury. There was one man who was a black man who was basically dosed 8 times the amount that he actually needed for an antipsychotic. And God knows how many other black men and black women are subjected to that same treatment, given medications that they know that the medical profession knows damn well they don't need to be on, just to get them under control rather than actually treating them. And that leaves a long-lasting damaging effect on their health that, you know, unless you know nutrition and unless you know how to repair the body, you might not be able to get those faculties back. So don't get it twisted. Eugenics is a very big part of what's going on here, because you're talking about defense of pharmaceuticals. That's war. And what's war without racism? Without tribalism? So all of this is what I'm saying sounds controversial, but all of this is yeah. All of this is wrapped up within it. But again, we're all going through hell. We're all on this slave ship together. Like, as much as we don't want to admit it or don't want to acknowledge it, we're all on this slave ship together. We're all fucking slaves. It's just that in accordance with who is deemed to be less controllable, they're the ones who get the most brutality. And that's just the truth of the situation. But yeah. So that's it for now. I didn't think it was going to go into a discussion about race, but seeing as we were talking about the injuries, yeah. But anyway, I gotta go. I love you so much, my fellow TIs. Peace and blessings. Take care. Bye-bye.